Okay, it is time for the fall basement tour. And of course, it's getting really late in the fall now. But let's check out all my plants in the basement. So here we go. Now over at the foot of the stairway is the exercise room, or an extended coat closet is what we'll call this, because we certainly don't exercise. You can see that's some kind of a whatever weight contraption that kind of thing is that weights are on. But I just have these plants in here that are the ones that I expect need to go dormant. I don't really know for sure. This is my asparagus fern, the Myers asparagus, the foxtail fern, and that's in a Hypertufa pot, as you can see. It's doing real well and staying real green, as is the bird of paradise. We've gotten an extra leaf on the bird of paradise. It's doing pretty nice. So I'm hoping to get a really lot of that next year, some blossoms. Now, I am not sure exactly how this one is supposed to behave. It's a Moses in a cradle, oyster plant. I'm not exactly sure what the correct name for that is. It's kind of gotten long and stringy. I've given it as much light as I can. It's still keeping a lot of its color, but as you can see, it's getting long and stringy. So as long as I can keep that alive and then cut off the tips and everything, and I'll reroot the growing tips next spring when I let that go back outside. Now this is a mandevilla, and the mandevilla is staying alive. It's gone insane, wrapping through this, going up the cords, going across and grabbing into the pots. So it's alive. That's all I intend that. I want a base to start with next year. That was a pretty red one that I had. And then this is the curly spider plant. It's the curly one. I've got it in a hanging pot on this contraption. And this is the, let me see, this is the east-facing window here. So it stayed alive. I have a bulb blown in that spotlight over there. And this spotlight is still operating, and it is shining down on the bridal veil. The bridal veil is alive, still shedding its seeds. We've got some blossoms. Let me see, I don't know if that's gonna focus real well on them, but it is staying alive. I hope to be able to bring that out, root it and everything in the spring. But it's staying alive. It's not getting any chance to rest. So I don't know if that will affect how it behaves in the springtime or not. But it's moderate. Okay, and that's all I have in this room. Just a table set up in front of the one window. And now we'll go into the other portion of the basement. Now over here is my main plant room. You can see the big mess I've got in here. This is usually where I film, set up different things to film, and then neglect them for days and days until I feel like cleaning it up to get ready to film something else. We keep storage over here for Christmas, holidays, different things like that. And I even have my laptop down here sometimes so I can work if I feel like being down here. And it, of course, is next to the furnace. All that setup that you probably hear. But this is where my main plant shop is. Now this is the other side of the basement. That's my husband's side. We won't worry about his side. His is just full of all his things. But this is my portion, my things. Okay. Now you know I keep all of my supplies in the big trash cans, soil, etc. But now for my plants. I have a water station here where I keep all my water, all the different supplies, jackets in case I need to go outside, aprons, thermometers. That's the temperature that it usually stays down here. It usually ranges between 60, 65, something like that. Okay, now for the plants. This is a Fittonia. I have a Fittonia along with a Wandering Jew planted there. They were just tip cuttings that I took and have them in a big container. I have my Selaginella that I have in a big jar, and then some new plantings of the Selaginella in another closed bottle garden that I've created. But we're just now getting that hydrated. It's forming its mist and condensation, so I can sort of adjust how it grows. It's a club moss, and I'm anticipating keeping it in a closed bottle. Now, I have a lot of Hypertufa down here. That's some Burrow's tail. Those are some small cuttings that I did have out on the porch garden. And then, of course, some kind of an Echeveria. One day, I will study up and try to learn what those are. And as you can see, there's going to have to be some beheading done in the spring, but I'll worry about that in the spring. Watch chain with the big flapjack. And the baby tears. I've got baby tears in a lot of places. Now the baby tears kind of grow strange. They die out and then come back here inside. Outside they'd probably stay real nice all the time, or at least they have for me. But inside they kind of die out and turn brown, but then they grow right back through the dead. And even those, I don't know how sharply you can see that, but they're blooming. So they do real well, and then they kind of back off and rest a little bit, then they grow right back through. So I've been pretty pleased with that. I think it's done real well. And now, these are some of my erodium starts, the little erodium in the teapot that you've seen before, and the Edwardian cases. This one, if you'll remember, did have a jade inside. Well, I didn't like the contorted jade and the way it looked, so I put some ghost plants. I think that's what those are. And there's two of the Crassula Golem, E.T.'s fingers, either of those. I don't know which is which. And a Haworthia. And I think that Haworthia is a coarctata. That's what I've labeled them because it's tall and it seems to stack. That's the reason I'm calling it that. So if you know differently, let me know. I'm not sure what that little blue plant is there in the corner. It looks like the same thing as this one. I'll just call it an Echeveria. And of course the erodium. The erodium's just gone crazy. I should have a lot of that come spring. And then I hook up the hanging plants down here too. I've got my little bird cage full of creeping fig. It's doing real well. It's just a tiny bird cage with a tiny bit of creeping fig in it. And I keep twisting it back up into itself so it'll grow. So far that's done real well. I have some in that hanging pot. And that one is entirely a glass jar. It's one of those glass fish bowls. But it fit perfectly inside that hanging macrame. And that's what I like. He'll probably go outside or maybe just upstairs when I can find a spot to hang her. Hanging pot of the campfire, the Crassula capitella campfire. And my Thanksgiving cactus, as you can see, it's got the points, the turkey beaks. This one is a Thanksgiving cactus. Now mine didn't bloom at Thanksgiving because it decided to bloom at Halloween. But I don't care as long as I get the blooms. And we've got a trailing jade over here. And you can see I keep my guard out in case there are any gnats. I've got 4 of them on there. But let's move that out of the way. I'm bad at leaning over and get my hair stuck in those. This is trailing jade Senecio jacobensii. And it's turning a real nice purple color, getting longer and longer. In the springtime, I may trim that and try to propagate, but I don't think I'll do that here in the wintertime. And this is some kind of ghost plant, I think. Not sure what that larger piece is, the darker green. Maybe it's a variety of ghost plant. And then, of course, my makeshift bonsai here. It's trying to grow up from the root. I did put a cord around it to keep it down into the soil. So we're working with it to see what we can come up with. But it may need a lot of trim later on. And these, I'm not sure of the name of that orangey one. It has grown quite a bit. It was a very small plant, and it's grown quite a bit. It's in the Hypertufa. These are my little tiny baby plants. This was jet beads. I think it's a Crassula. Here, I've got another grown-up one over here. Sedivaria. That's the mom. But over here I have the baby in a small Hypertufa cub. And that one, I think, I'm not sure if it is the Tom Thumb. I do have tiny Tom Thumb in this one. I think that might be a bigger Tom Thumb, but I'm not sure. Watch chain back there, getting bigger and bigger. The Crassula muscosa. I haven't had any blooms on it this year, but it's certainly branching out and growing thickly. And then the blue chalk sticks, they have just bloomed all winter. Bloom and bloom and bloom. I trim them all off and it just blooms again. So kind of strange, but I'll take it. And then down here, more ghost plant. They're just different varieties. and different colors of ghost plants. I'm not real sure. If you know a different name for those, let me know. Those kind of rust colored ones kind of sag down. They're more coppery rust. And then this one in the center, I'm not sure what that is. Is that some kind of an echeveria? I don't know. Now this one I think is an aeonium. I've not grown those before. It has a lot of pink color to it. It's variegated. Let me see if I can swivel it. I'm not really sure what these are supposed to look like. So I don't know if that is the monstrosity it's supposed to look like, or mine just isn't doing well. But that's what this one looks like. So let me know. I can behead it in the spring and I guess start over. We still have our Mother of Thousands. Hopefully those can get picked up soon and I won't have to worry about those. I have some rooted jade plants and mini jade that we're still working on, and of course more chalk sticks. Those are in a hanging pot. You can see I have that hooked, but it's just a little bit too short or too tall, depending on what you're looking at. But that has grown very, very big. And this one, I'm not sure if these are ghost plants. Again, it's got that coppery rust color. There are a couple of the little Sansevieria in there, the bird's nest type, but they've done real well in glass. Oh, a cactus back there. My cactus with its babies. They are all going to be transplanted in the spring. I think I got all of those. Back in this corner, I brought in some English ivy. I have it in a hanging pot, hung up in the rafters up there. That was a chore, but it's doing real well and getting bushier and bushier. And then another bird cage of the creeping fig. Can you tell I like the bird cage style? A few of these I've managed to work out names. And the Crassula Tom Thumb that I took my little seedlings from. This is a little pot I got at the Goodwill store. I just thought it was so cute. And so I've kept them in that. And at this point in time, I have two aquariums. That one and this one. This is the one I did earlier movies about. I had a video of planting this one. And as you can see, the Aurelia has grown way high again. It'll need to be pruned. The baby tears completely engulf the Photonia. They just climb into it and over it. They really need to spread, but I'm going to have a lot to put in the planters outside in the spring. And this one of the ladies from another video helped me to name that. I forget her name. It's sort of an aloe shaped like a candelabra. I guess it may fan out later on. But that one is an aloe petricola, we think. This one, I'm not sure. It looks like this aeonium type plant, this weird one over here. So I'm going to call it an aeonium until somebody tells me differently. It has real vivid color. Purple edges to the leaves, but it doesn't look quite so strung out and ugly like the other one does. So I don't know if that's what it's supposed to look like. Because again, I'm new to these indoor succulents. I'm trying the best I can. And this aquarium is the Selaginella uncinata, the peacock or rainbow spike moss. It's growing pretty well. You can see the shades of blue and green. I like it a whole lot. And it just kind of, some of it will turn brown and then it just keeps growing more and more. So it just kind of goes back and forth. But I like it real well. There's another one of my glue traps. I've got one on it. Let me move it. I'll have my hair in it. Here, put it down like that. And I want to put this one back down that I moved away. I forget if I showed the baby tears in the big fish bowl. They're doing well. And so are these. Another Gollum E.T. fingers. And whatever that topsy-turvy, some kind of curly one. I'm trying to get these all identified so that I can have names on them. So I won't be so tongue-tied when I try to film. Now there's my aloe. Let's see, that's Crosby's Prolific. It's gotten really big. That's gonna call for some transplant. And I have two agave in these two Hypertufa. They have done real well. I transplanted those in August after we got home. They rode in my purse home, but we won't tell anyone about that. And again, the jet beads. This one is, I think that's the Pearl von Nuremberg. She's stretched out along with some ghost plant. I think that's some variety of ghost plant with big succulent leaves. It may be something else. I thought I identified that one and then this one behind it in a previous video, but I couldn't find that real quick to get my name tags. And then the Ripple Jade. It's doing pretty well. And then this one is, I'm not sure the name of those, but that's the Aphra, the Dwarf Jade, and then another Haworthia. I think that one's the Attenuata. I've had a few videos about it. And basically, I think I've covered everything that's here in the basement, where most of my glass and Hypertufa is planted. Got a bunch more to work on down there. Lots of empties. And more to start on. But this is where I work most of the time. This is, let me see if I can back up here. This is my sun, my artificial sun that I let shine. It's on a timer, of course, as I put in another video. I have this floodlight also if I feel the need for extra sun. It's on a timer, but I don't use it very much. It doesn't seem like I need it. Over there is another planting station. And I think one of the next things I'll be planting is my Dwarf Jade. I want to get an, I'm going to try for a hanging planter this next time. So we'll work on that. That'll be in an upcoming video. But basically, that's it. Right there is the door to the outside. Dreary, cold, everything else out there today. But I've got a lot of pots and planters waiting for springtime. And I am anxiously waiting for springtime too. But that's it. This is my digs for working all day. So, thanks for joining me. I've got to get this edited and get this up so that you all can see my basement garden. But thanks for joining me today.